I'm Dr. Spenziano, and this is a center that has been created for the benefit of all. And we do things like this for the benefit of all. So without further ado, I will begin. I will open this up and introduce you all to what is going to happen. Namaste. We are here tonight as a result of the request of my husband, Dr. Pariksith Singh, to engage everyone in the language of a song, a concept that he was inspired by through the ancient texts that we call the Bhagavad Gita, or simply the Gita. He will show and tell the meaning of the shloka, or verse, that is the fundamental poetic meter used in the Bhagavad Gita. We would like to see this as the start of a series on teaching of this masterful work. The Gita means Song of God in the ancient language of Sanskrit. It was composed as a huge episode recorded in the epic poem known as the Mahabharata. He's always correct. In ancient India. The Gita was and is an influential religious text in Hinduism that takes the form of a dialogue between Prince Arjuna and Lord Krishna, the avatar of the Hindu deity Vishnu. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches that one can kill only the body, the soul is immortal. At death, the soul is reborn in another body, or for those who have truly grasped the true teaching, it achieves release, moksha, or extinction, nirvana. That is, freedom from the wheel of rebirth. Essentially, the Gita is here to teach yoga, that is the ultimate connection of the soul to God. Now we are honored to have with us both Dr. Singh and a man who has traveled from his home in India with his wife and tiny daughter to join in the workings here with us. Dr. Max is a PhD in literature from the University of Illinois. Please come up, Muffin. And the author or editor of over 50 books, and was director, Indian Institute of Advanced Study. Max is our director of education, working with Dr. Singh on various educational and cultural projects. He will introduce this series, Bhagavad Gita for the Soul, and the speaker, Dr. Pariksith Singh, Executive Director, Officer, CEO on Access Healthcare Physicians. Thank you.
Make sure it doesn't fall off. I'll just go there. Well, namaste all of you, and thank you, Pariyaji, for this privilege of introducing this series. I'm not going to introduce Dr. Singh. Many of you know him, I'm sure, and probably his patients, am I right? Or is this just a conjecture? You all know him? Oh, okay, good. So I will also say, with your permission, a few words about him later. But first of all, this text, the Bhagavad Gita, which Edwin Arnold translated as the Song Celestial. Mariaji has already said a few words about this text, and we will hear a few more words today, and maybe more as you join this series. I hope this is the first of the series. And it's a very opportune time to talk about the Gita, because the world is in turmoil. And this is a text which was delivered on a battlefield. And it teaches the secret of right action. I wouldn't even worry about the different theological or religious dimensions of the text, but it's really the secret of how to act in this world, which is in a sense a battlefield, as we all know, isn't it? We are all in a daily struggle. There's a struggle at the physical level. We're struggling with our bodies. This is a health center. As you know, it's a beautiful space. People come here to be healed and to share in the healing vibrations of this wonderful place. And Dr. Singh himself is a lifelong health practitioner, a healer himself. So we struggle at the physical level. So in that sense, the body itself is the battlefield, isn't it? But we struggle with our emotions, with our thoughts, with our feelings. So there's a struggle at that level. And we struggle with our minds, with our intellects, isn't it? Because our thoughts are in conflict, they're all over the place. We have racing thoughts, we have intrusive thoughts, all sorts of things. There are labels that we put on what happens to us on a daily basis. I myself like to call it the pit to summit, rotation of the mind. You have these moments when you feel everything is in order, and then you plunge into the depths of confusion. So that is exactly what Arjuna, the prince, goes through at the start of this conversation, because he throws his arms and he says, I'm a pacifist, I don't want to kill anybody, and these are my relatives, these are my teachers, these are my own brothers, and what good would it do to gain the world if I have to wade through an ocean of blood to reach that throne, isn't it? So he's a very sensitive young man, and he says, I don't want to fight. So we go through this turmoil on a daily basis, a mental confusion, not knowing what right action is, not knowing what our duty is. How do I act? And this is the question that assailed Hamlet, as you know, right? Because he even said to be or not to be, that is the question. Because he didn't know whether to avenge his father's death or just to keep quiet. So the problem of action is in some ways at the center, at the heart of this text. And as I said, we face a daily struggle, we're in a daily battlefield, and beyond the intellect, beyond the mind is possibly an even bigger challenge, the spiritual challenge, the challenge of oneness, the challenge of love, how to feel at one, not only with one another, but with nature. This beautiful Mother Earth on which we have the privilege to spend a few moments, and we want to make these moments happy, isn't it? So that's why we're here, and I won't stand between you and the speaker. I just want to say a couple more words about the series. Now, the great thing about this text, which is only 700 verses long, it's a short text. And the Mahabharata is a very long text. It's 100,000 lines in its, biggest version. So it's the longest poem we know to humankind. It's the longest poem. And this is a very short interlude in this very long poem. And it's in 18 chapters, so it's a very compact text. And it has been read and reread and interpreted and translated over and over again. In fact, I might say that without fear of refutation, that it is probably the most translated text emanating out of India. It's got at least 70 or maybe even 100 translations in different languages all over the world. It's not as translated as the Bible, but this text doesn't have any particular religious denomination behind it, except the Krishnas. You might see them, giving you this book, at airports. I don't know if you've encountered them. Yeah, so you see those guys, but other than that, it's a free-for-all. In fact, 100 years ago, it was translated by W.B. Yeats, a Nobel laureate, as you know, the great Irish poet, with Purohit Swami. And it is also a very influential text as far as T.S. Eliot was concerned. The great, again, Nobel laureate, American poet, the founder of literary modernism. So it's a very influential text. It has influenced Hermann Hesse, Hegel, I mean, hundreds of people, Emerson, Thoreau, in America. So it's probably the most well-known, widely translated and influential text to come out of India. And it has also been interpreted in a number of ways. It's been interpreted, as I said, as the gospel of right action. It has also been interpreted as a text of wisdom, which helps you transform yourself, as Dr. Maria just said. She used the word nirvana. I don't like the word extinction because we all want to be happily conscious and not extinct, but I suppose the extinction of the ego, the false consciousness, so that the plenary consciousness, the magnificent cornucopia of the plenitude of who we are, without beginning, without end, full of joy. That's what we want to be, to find our true self. So the Gita has also been seen as a text of wisdom. So as a text of action, as a text of wisdom, as a text of love, of devotion to the Lord, who appears in a human form, conversing with us as one of us, not somebody who's up there, way beyond, whose name itself is so mysterious that it cannot be uttered, but as a familiar friend of ours, who answers each one of our questions, and also doesn't lay down the rule, doesn't lay down the law. He doesn't say, do this because I say so, and I am divine, and you are the struggling human being. In fact, towards the end of the Gita, he says, okay, we've had our little conversation, I've told you whatever I had to tell you, now you do what you think is right. So it's a text that empowers each one of us to engage with these struggles of life and to find the path that best suits us and which elevates us. So it's a text of action, it's a text of wisdom, it's a text of love, and it's a text that combines all these things, isn't it? And here's when I bring in our speaker, Dr. Pariksith Singh. As you heard, he's the CEO of Access Healthcare Physicians. I'm proud to say we have more than 60,000 lives in our care. Correct me if I'm wrong. And, I happen to have known him since he was a much younger man, a medical student in New Delhi, at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. And he was a budding poet at that time and showed me some of his poetry. So he's come a long way since then, but as far as the Gita is concerned, I must say that he's made a signal and original contribution, because in addition to seeing the Gita at all these levels that I mentioned, he's also established, or he's also shown us the way of seeing it as a literary masterpiece. I think he's going to talk about that. He's going to teach us how to chant some of the shlokas. And the last thing I want to say is that it's not as if he's, been trained, or he's a, great Sanskrit scholar born in a Pandit family. He's mastered this text on his own by reading it, by engaging with it, and he teaches a course on the Gita. You're all welcome to join. It's free, and it's one of the best expositions of the Gita that I know. And I've seen and heard and read literally dozens and dozens of them. He has a very original manner in which he opens up the text to all of us. So certainly I'm a fan of his as far as the Gita is concerned, and his other literary and cultural interests. We collaborate, and I've learned immensely from him and Maria ji. So I once again welcome all of you. It's a great honor that all of you are here, and it's the cusp of the year, the International Yoga Day, the solstice. So it's a wonderful time to try to come together in spirit and enjoy this wonderful opportunity to learn about this ancient wisdom text from India. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
So, do I need to be here? I can move on. Thank you everyone for coming. Good evening. Namaskar. And I'm going to take away everything that we know, put it aside and start afresh. And the goal is to experience sound. Because we've kind of lost touch with sound. And as we were growing up, our education system focused on the mental development, and we didn't develop our senses and other things, of course, the heart and other parts of our brain, because this was all important. So we take a step back and try other ways of experiencing ourselves. So we'll try to go gently and take your time, and there's no rush, because the point is to experience something that we may have missed out in our journey in this beautiful planet together. So let's start with the first question. When we don't know anything, we start fresh. What are we doing here? And I'm not talking about a great existential issue. What are we doing here? We are here together. And what are we doing? We're learning. We're trying to learn through what? Soul. Okay, but what am I doing? I'm talking and you're listening. Think. You're listening. Communicating. And communication is sound. So the first principle is to learn how to appreciate sound. And today is all that we're going to do is learn how to appreciate sound. And we'll find interesting things about sound that we may not have paid attention to, and how we talk, and things we take for granted. And I confess to you, I did not know them myself until I started going deep into some ancient tracts of knowledge, great wisdom from our past, which came from our forefathers. And I say our forefathers because they didn't have a country they belonged to. They didn't have a religion they belonged to. They didn't have a denomination they belonged to. So I can't say those were mine, because they were in my area, but that mine came later, so I can't really pinpoint it. So it is our forefathers. So this first step is, this is our knowledge. It's not mine, it's not only the Indians, it is our tradition. And so it goes for all the traditions. Every tradition is our tradition on a very simple human level. So let's try to get that out of the way. So let's try to experience sound. And very basic, going back to the fundamentals of sound, and other researchers who have done studies on it, we will learn from it. So another question I'm going to ask you is, what is the unit or building block of our communication? And I just want you to think about it. When we communicate, when I'm talking to you, what is the unit that you build on?
Vibration and frequency.
Vibration and frequency, okay. You are esoteric. Very good. But what am I saying? What am I using? Language. Language is made of what? Words. So words are the building blocks of our language. Do we all agree on it? Any disagreement? No one is disagreeing. Sentences? Sentences are the building blocks too? Yeah, sentences are made of words. Well, I'm going to try to bring it to your attention that maybe words are not the building blocks of our knowledge. And hopefully you will agree by the end of our discussion. And see if you agree. So, what are words made of? Now we make it simpler. Words are made of vowels and consonants. Okay, so words are not the building blocks. Vowels and consonants. But then you'll say they don't make sense. Words are the units that make sense. Other units don't make sense, do they? So now we have to go back to how our ancient knowledge systems connected these early sounds. When a baby comes out, I'm just going to give a very simple thing. Babies come out, they don't know words. So how do they communicate? You just listen, 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 and then what comes? Well, the words come out, right? One syllable. Usually the commonest is what? Mama, Dada. So you guys are making it very easy for me. Mama, Ma. Okay, so let me give you some examples. In English, mom, mother. In Latin, mater. In Tamil, amma. In Sanskrit, ma. In Hindi, mata. And I can give you another 15 languages where the ma sound, 72 languages there are at least, where the ma sound represents the mother. Is this a coincidence? So there was a great scholar, William Jones, I think his name was, in the 18th century. He was in Calcutta. He was researching, he knew Latin and ancient Greek. And he was translating some Sanskrit texts into English because the British were there and they were trying to put the Sanskrit languages into English, translate them, and so that they could show the locals that you don't really know much, we have a better knowledge system. And then he realized that the words sounded the same. The words had the same meaning and they sounded the same. How is this possible? So he said there must have been an ancient connection in Sanskrit, ancient Greek, and Latin. Famous presentation, I think 1770 he made this presentation. And then of course, it is not that it was not known before, but for the first time, scientifically someone showed that there was a hidden connection between the different cultures and different languages. So then scientists came together and proposed that there was a language that preceded ancient Greek, Sanskrit, and Latin. And they called it the Proto-Indo-European language. EIE, pi. Pi is easy to do. Proto-Indo-European language. There's a very nice book that came out, it's called Proto, if you get interested, to see how there was something that connects all these languages. Almost 50 to 60% of the languages spoken in the world today are connected and coming through a common ancestor language. So we're all connected, in case you didn't know. We're sharing a language that goes far back. Not only do we share our genes, we share also our memes and our phonemes. Our language is somehow connected. So, I just wanted to hold this thought. And let's go back to mama. Easiest word for the baby. And the baby is trying to communicate and using no words, but using a sound that is the smallest sound, and that is the basis of our language. I'm going to try to show you how. And in the ancient traditions of language, when people were more sensitive to sounds, they knew that every sound has a quality. So the ma sound has a quality of completeness or fulfillment for most of human beings. Why? Maybe because we were growing up and we have a beautiful face in front of us. That's our only protection in this world. The mother is there and we don't know what to say, and the only sound we can say is ma, and that connects in our brain as the sign of completeness. This is my theory, I don't know, I can prove it. So the ma is, whenever ma comes, it's a sense of completeness. I'll give you some examples. So obviously mother, mater, mama, mata, amma, mom, completeness. When the mom is there, everything is complete, final product, end of story. This is what the babies feel. Nothing else is there, the end of the world. But let's make that m sound other words. Mortality, muerto. In Sanskrit, it's mrityu. How to disconnect? Ma is the end. Again, you will see that ma sound in various languages with connected with death. Again, an end, completion. The ocean, marina, the mar, those who know Latin, Mata Rishwan, these are again completeness. All the rivers are ending, sense of completeness. And now let me give you the final convincing proof where things end for most of us. Where do our things end? Where do our lives end in our little beds? Where does our world end? Me. My world ends where? No matter how much I theorize, how open I am, I'm universal, I love everyone, at the end of it, it's all about me. Mine, moi, main, aham. Keeps coming back. So, it's something that is very interesting to me. I've always looked at it and see how are we not just consciously connected, but subconsciously connected. Our languages come from these little sounds that have a psychological impact on us. And today we'll just do a few sounds. A, E, I, O, U. Everyone is familiar with that. In Sanskrit, it's a, I, U. These are the primitive sounds. A, I, U. And if you want to be expansive about it, you say ah, you say e, you say oo. These are the vowels in Sanskrit. Sound very similar to English, not very far. How did that happen? If they were totally separate, couldn't they have evolved different vowels? That's the least they could have done. But similar sounding. Now let's go to the sound itself. Because we will experience the sound, and hopefully we will experience each other and we will experience ourselves. So when you say what do you feel? We're going to practice it, so don't get stressful. Okay. Now, it. Let everyone come up with it. So this is not, I'm not teaching you anything. You're going to experience it yourself. You're going to experience the sounds. And it doesn't end. It's not a class. You go home. If it comes back to the sound, you come back to the thought, interesting thought, you can practice it there. It's just a sound. We are all talking. So, and in Sanskrit, whenever you extend it, it is the same quality, but it's more power. So, it. So if I say it, what is the difference? It. Okay, make it easy for you. E. Is there a difference? Where's the difference? It. E. Somewhere else, the sound is coming somewhere else. Right? So E is almost driving into something, but I won't give you the answers, you feel it. It's your ears, your sensitivity. You have to learn to feel this because it's about, eventually, it's you. I'm not here to give you answers, I'm going to give you questions. So, E. And then we come to U and Oo. What's the difference? Oo. Okay, do it with me. Oo. So, do you get a sense of oo? You are sending something out? Oo. And E, you're driving something, maybe somewhere upward or inside. Did you ever know this? Each sound has a beautiful significance. These are primitive sounds that make up our language. All great poets know this. I'm not talking about me. Shakespeare. Don't you love Shakespeare? I don't know, my daughter loves Romeo and Juliet because the teachers don't bring the love of the language and sound. Absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world, draw thy breath in pain. Immortal line, right? If you had a great Laurence Olivier read these, you would be so impressed. As you said, to be or not to be, that is the question. What makes Shakespeare so great? In the dark, backward, and abysm of time. In the dark, backward, and abysm of time. Pay attention to the sound, he's taking you back. The abysm of time. He's using which sound? We just talked about it. The ma. In the dark, backward, and abysm of time. Famous line from The Tempest. One of his greatest lines. So, the great poets know the value of each sound and they use it. And what I'm trying to bring to you is, this is the fun of poetry. This is the fun of our ancient scriptures. And since hopefully we have all agreed that we are all one family, maybe we don't, but on your behalf I agree that we are all one family, we just have different denominations and different colors, but at least we have all the same ancestors, Proto-Indo-European, so we are speaking that language, so we can't be too far. We were all speaking the same language, or at least our forefathers were, and the families' languages are related, right? So there was some kind of a deep connection. And the connection was deeper than just words. The connection was these little sounds that make up our language. Within sound has a significance. So what is the difference between a h and a m? H, m. Which one is gentler to you? H, m. M. And you don't have to agree with me, right? So is Papa gentle or Mama gentler? Papa, Pater, Vader, Pita, Pitra, all kinds. Why are they connected? All these languages, same sound. The baby cannot go deep. They cannot use the gutturals. Baby can only do the lip. So mom, pop. Mom, easy, gentler. Papa, oh my gosh. Don't be more forceful, can't mess around with that. Also benign. Okay. So let's take some more examples. And I just get a sense of the sound. So if we start chanting, there's no point chanting if you can't feel it. And it doesn't matter what great chanting you do. We have great Georgian chants. I'm not an expert on it, so I'm not qualified to talk about it. We have great Tibetan chants.
Gregorian chants.
Huh?
Gregorian chants.
Gregorian chants, right? Famous. I can't do it. I've tried. My knowledge of that ancient language is very limited. I've always tried to learn Latin because it's very similar to English and Spanish. Someday. So let's talk about going back to A, and I'll give you another sound. H. Then in Sanskrit it has a separate place, but we'll talk about it. It will come out. And remember, whether you are Irish, whether you're German, Italian, Iranian, North Indian, South Indian, Celtic, What other languages that I miss? Slavic, French, we all are sharing the same root language. Proto language. Now there's controversy with where it came from. Whether it came from the Caucasian region, where we have the battle going on right now, Russia and Ukraine, or whether it came near Turkey, or some say no, it was just Indians will say it came from India. It's fine, I'll take it. But let's go back to the person. Let's do, and I'll come back to the A, E, U. So the sound is your holding. Even when you say if you're still holding, you're not getting it out. It's here. E. Now you're driving, it's almost hitting your palate. E. Ooh. Now it's going out of it. Ooh. Right? You agree? Okay. Now I'm going to go further. Now it's really going. You're expiring. You're just pushing it out. Okay, so let's try this. If I say If I say what does that mean to you? What kind of expression is that? Time. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, if I'm hurting, my patient will or give it a shot. I feel better. Right? Still it's held inside. What if I said aha? It won't be aha. No. Aha. I'm pushing it out. I'm happy. I've never seen anyone doing it out of pain. Aha! And then, when you're pushing it out, ha! Very common. If I want to make you start laughing and I don't have any jokes, you know what I need to do? You know what I need to do? Start laughing. Everyone will start laughing after a while. Strange, isn't it? Sound. Very strange. So if we start looking at these building blocks of how we communicate, every sound has a significance. When we say the, it has a different quality than when we say what. So when we do poetry, when we do what is called sound painting, we use sound to paint, as it were. Every sound creates its own mood, its own experience, its own articulation. And if you like this, we can talk about different sounds, where they come from, and what feeling they create. But the strangely becomes duality. Diablo. You know what Diablo is? The devil. The duality. Devil, how did devil get connected with duality? Do, duet, duo. How did this happen? French, German, Arabic. I actually, at one point, I created a whole list of words. Arabic, Persian, Sanskrit, whole list. They all have the same sound. This is hand. In Sanskrit, it's hasta. Mind, mana. Ashta is 8. Sapta is 7. Sun is Surya. Soul, right, in different languages. So these root sounds, they have each a significance, and that's how the words came out. Now, if we think about chanting, and I don't know how many of you can read Sanskrit? Probably not. So we can try English. We'll try that. I'm not going to make it, I'm going to make it fun. It shouldn't be an imposition. It should be done with the spirit of understanding that the sounds are arranged in a way that they create an experience. And then you can see connections with you even now. How is an ancient text connected to us even now? It's one lineage. It's just that I know Sanskrit, and my Latin is very poor, it's very rusty, but I can show you that we are connected, and sounds connect us, even today. That's the beauty. That's how I try to study the Gita, as a literary work. Forget the religion, forget the philosophy, which have their own place, nothing wrong with that. That also should be discussed and reviewed and experienced, and we have a dialogue about it. But just as a work of literature, work of sound, because all our literature was oral before writing came. Writing only came much later. And printing, 1500th century. 16th century? 16th century. That's 15. The Gutenberg Bible was the first, I think, the work that was published. Only 500 years ago. Before that, we had to memorize all our texts. 100,000 lines they had to memorize. 17, 18, 20 years they had to stay. They had to remember all these chants and works, great works. That's how our ancients, with their hard work, gave us these works. Otherwise, we wouldn't have them. Imagine that. These people put in so much effort, commit to memory, and then give it to the next generation, which committed it to memory and pass it on. Not one error. Even the nuance of sound was caught. And then we passed it, and then we passed it on. So 5,000 years, how many generations? Think about it. These were passed on. So that is a lot that we owe our ancients. Most other languages are gone. Today we wouldn't know these languages if some of our forefathers had not spent so much time preserving this knowledge for us. There was no email recording that. We didn't record our great speakers, poets, so someone had to memorize it, and every generation had to memorize it. Let me make it even more stupendous. They memorized it not only forward, but backward. 10,000 lines of verse. Forward, backward, sideways, diagonally, obliquely, until they could remember them in and out. That is the mental prowess that our forefathers kind of brought out of themselves. And that is how we have this wisdom of knowledge. We can compare languages, we can compare different sounds and experience sound ourselves. That otherwise we were lost. If we had just been a WhatsApp generation, I guarantee you we wouldn't know what happened 50 years ago. Okay. So, this is not a one-stop process. If we're going to come here to experience sound, then we're done. And we're going to come back a month from now, and then we're going to start experiencing sound again. Doesn't work that way. What works that way is, I want to pique your interest, and then you start listening. Start paying attention to our own words and our own languages. And then aha, and ha 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 is just one example. So let's pay attention to our languages. And every language is beautiful, by the way. There's no, it's not that others that I can care of. Every language is critical, important, and its own genius. I just like to take an ancient work because it's so mesmerizing in certain ways. It's almost like I see those sounds put there like a matrix. That's how beautifully they did it. And so we'll take one example, and then you will analyze it, and you will play with it, and then we will chant it, hopefully, at least those who know Sanskrit, and then hopefully we'll get to start getting the feel of the word. Today is not it shouldn't be a test, it should be fun. So one more question, last question I have for you. What is the need of reading a scripture that has no relevance to us today? Or what is the need to read any scripture? Especially a foreign one. Unrelated, totally from a different culture, different experience. What's the point? Is there a point? You say yes. Now I want you to say no. Don't say yes. Okay. What is the meaning of scripture? It's an approach to what? And this is not, I'm trying not to get a special answer from
An approach to life.
to life. To life. And scripture is an approach to life. It's the wisdom, right? Wisdom. A lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom. The great luminaries had some. Yes, ma'am. Now, go ahead. Quickly.
I think it was honestly English and order very knowledge and knowledge on social language.
Okay.
But when you see the new threat of
Okay.
you understood. You can feel things that you don't know what it is, but as a meaning, understand what the meaning of it is.
Okay. No baggage. However, no baggage. We create our own baggage sometimes. We cannot see ourselves. So sometimes we have to borrow someone else's eyes and look at ourselves with those eyes. You get a better sense of who we are. Because otherwise we are the greatest thing since sliced bread. Yeah. That's a good answer. But at least the way I approached scripture was a way to experience life in myself and you. How does it relate to me? How do I relate to it? How do I experience it? Whether it's the scripture from one culture or the other. I have to have a relationship with it. And the deeper relationship I have with it, the more it will be transformative. Right? But eventually it is the revelation or the knowledge or the wisdom comes into me on its own. So usually we try not to give ready-made answers. This is what he said. Why? Do you have a license on it? No. This is what I feel, he said. My experience with these beautiful words is this. Or maybe it's not registering yet. Maybe it will register 10 years from now. That's okay. That's okay. So it is a very deep and intimate involvement. And so your point is very valid. That you take a completely different shift in your paradigm and you start looking at it with fresh eyes. Maybe it will be great, maybe it won't be great, and that's totally okay. There's nobody required to have a certain opinion. We are looking at an ancient text and see if it helps us discover something new, afresh. The reason I brought the language is because in the traditional approach to great scriptural experience, sound was important. Not so much the mind. Mind interferes. You have prejudices. You want to feel a certain way. This has to be right. Why? Because mom believes in it, so I have to believe it in a certain way. No. I have to experience it. It's my realization. It has to be mine. Whatever it is. It can be this much. But that's more valuable than a whole universe of mental, intellectual abstraction. You said it, I take it, that's the way it is. Doesn't work. I think that can be said for almost every scripture. Unless I am living it, it has no meaning. I think that is, even if I can live, and the saying is, if you can A palm full of knowledge is a palm full of experience is greater than the universe of knowledge. So we have to reorient ourselves to a different experience of the scripture. Not mentally, but to re-experience it in a different way. I found it through literature. That was because I love literature. I love poetry, I love the arts, I love it. And so I could relate to it in a different way. And that's how I could clean the slate, take away all my prejudices. It has to be great. Why? Because my grandpa said so. No, let me approach it afresh. Can I approach it afresh? Do I learn something worthwhile from it? Or is it just all hype? Is it changing this person? That was it. So, experiencing it in different ways may be a way. With any great text, but especially our sacred text. So this is just one approach. It doesn't have to apply to everyone. And hopefully, by the end of it, we will, and those who are interested, we will try more. Otherwise, we can try some other way to experience. So, Lenora, how do you do this? Okay, there you go. Wasn't too difficult. So, the new specimens of humanity. Please forgive me if you are one of the young ones. My daughter is here, so I'm very careful what I say. But the new generation is out of touch with its senses, unfortunately. We have steadily lost touch with our immediate experience. We are living in a world of smartphones, we are living in WhatsApps, in social media, constantly. Another transplanted, and it might become virtual reality, augmented reality soon. Then we will lose touch with reality. Let us come back to our senses. And I know it's difficult to relate to it because some of it is in Sanskrit, but we put it for English here, and there are different sounds, and I don't want you to get scared with the sounds. Dr. Stinziana has been trying to articulate these sounds for 30 years with partial success. But the science of sound that came from probably Proto-Indo-European languages, of which the earliest example that we have is Sanskrit, is that we have different areas for different sounds. Example, K. Say K comes from lower down. But if you say Pa, it comes from here, the lips. If you say Ta, it comes from the palate. Ta, usually English doesn't have P sounds that I can think of. Spanish has them. Ta. Or Ch. Ch is more in Italian. Ch. Ch is coming from much deeper down, right? So each sound comes from a different place, and it may be a little difficult, and we will try to make it easier if you want to someday learn where your apparatus has different locations for different sounds. It's fun. If someday you get interested, we can do a session just on that. What each sound implies or has a significance, and where it comes from. And these are all classified. So one set will be, for example, Pa, Ha, Ba, Ha, Ma. So the first four are coming from here, the last one goes to the nose. M. It's the lip labial sound going nasal. M. So it goes through the air goes through the sinuses and creates a vibratory effect. Pa, from which comes papa. Pa. This next sound is pa. It's the same sound but with a little more force. Pa, ba. Ba is like baba for baby, I guess. Ba, ba is a little more force. And ba. All these sounds coming from here, the lips. It has a different sense to the mind, to our psyche, than if it were coming from deep down. K. Just like we discussed, a, e, u, or in English, a, e, I, o, u, they all have a different psychological impact. We have to be very conscious of what we say to each other. We are living in times where we need to become more conscious of something. And everything that we say not only affects the other person, but how we put it together is something we need to be conscious of. So, this is something that we have to. A lot of it is not so much to be learned as to be felt, as to be experienced. If ma reminds you of mom, then it reminds someone else of mom too. That is how we are connected. If ma is a good sound for you, it's a good sound for the other. It's a soothing sound for the other too. Can we be conscious of what we say and how we say, not only because it's good for ourselves, because it's good for the other too. This is a lesson that all of us, each of us should learn. What we see. Okay. Now, this is a unique situation. We have a good side and a bad side. And I don't want to make it too long. I don't know what time it is. It's 7 o'clock. I know it's an hour already. Okay, I'll make it 10 more minutes so that we can open it up to questions. Maybe we'll do a little chant, and those who know will chant, and those who join, we can start joining. Within a week, you should be able to do the chanting. That's my goal. You don't even have to learn the language. And probably if you don't know the language, it's even better. They can appreciate the sound. And then maybe you can give me insights that even I didn't have with my own baggage. You will come fresh, most of you. So you won't have the baggage that I had to carry. And as Dr. Sindhiano said, we all carry our own bags. So the sooner we get rid of them, the better for all of us. So, let's see. So this is a unique situation. The good side and the bad side are fighting. One side is 5 brothers, the other side is 100 brothers. They are related because they are cousins. But the bad side has usurped the rights of the good side. Taken away their kingdom, taken away their land, and insulted them, abused the most important woman in their family, dishonored her, and they tried to compromise, they tried to diplomatically reach a solution. It did not work out. Now they have no choice but to assert their rights. The question is, do they have a right to fight, and if necessary, to kill? That is the question. This is not a fight that is a wimpy fight. This is a fight that will destroy families, destroy societies, destroy communities, destroy the whole nation. And the most important protagonist, the most important person is Arjuna. Arjuna means the one who's straight. It's an ancient Sanskrit word. Straightforward, simple. He's a straightforward guy. Greatest warrior of that time, and he's the one. Think of Achilles if you have read Homer. If you watched that movie, think of Brad Pitt. This is the Brad Pitt. And he's ready. He says, take me to the center of the battlefield and let me destroy it. The moment he sees his teachers, his cousins, his grandparents, it hits him. How can I kill my teacher? That is the question that he is unable to answer, and he cannot quite puts down his bow and arrow, because this question is a question that probably is the most difficult for any human being. If we were in that position, we would be unsure of ourselves. What is the right thing to do? So, his charioteer is Krishna. And Krishna invokes him and he helps him navigate through this thought process. This is what makes this situation unique. What should we all do in this battlefield of our own life? Should we stand up for the truth and that which is right, no matter what the consequence? Or should we just give in to let the others do as they wish, just because we do not want to kill, because they are related to us? And in a sense, everyone is related to us. So what should we do? That is the question, and that is the question at which this scripture begins. And so his grand uncle is, correct me if I get this right, his father's brother is the king. He's blind. The man who is supposed to uphold the kingdom, his name is also signifying one who is supposed to hold the nation. The name is Dhritarashtra. Rashtra is the nation. Dhrit is one who holds it. He is the upholder of the nation, but he's blind. And he favors his own sons, the 100 who are not righteous. But he wants to know, even with this blindness, he wants to know what is happening in the field. And so that it has been arranged that his friend Sanjaya is given a special eyesight, that he can see the battlefield even though they're sitting far away. And so Sanjaya is describing the battlefield. Now, Sanjaya, Jaya means to win. Sana is together. If you go back to the word synthesis, sin is S-Y-N, is together. Symbiosis, sim, together. His name is Sanjaya, sun. The same sound is carried. So you will find a lot of these parallels between the ancient language and languages and ours, just to keep it as a fun fact. Because now this opens up a matrix of sounds. And I will break it down for you without making it challenging. Don't get stressed over it. We could look at it as different sounds. First sound is the. And I know that's difficult for most Western educated tongues to express. Think of the, dad, the, and just soften it up. The. I don't know if you can try. The is your tongue touching the palate. the, dad, the, tongue touching the palate and coming back, right? The, now soften it up, the. Then forward and touch just right at the top of the teeth, the. Buddha. Buddha, you've heard of the Buddha? We don't call him the Buddha. He's not the Buddha, he's the Buddha. The. The is the sound that upholds. The ancient sound that gives you the sense of upholding. So whenever you go and read about, say, the Buddha, one who upholds. Buddhi. Buddhi is the higher intelligence. Buddhi. That which holds you together, the higher intelligence. You might have heard of the word samadhi. You said nirvana. Samadhi. Samadhi is when your consciousness reaches a higher level. Samadhi. Or dharma. Dharma should be a common word. Dharma warriors. Who was that poet who wrote that? Dharma. The beats. Jack Kerouac, right? The Dharma bums. What was the?
Yeah.
So Dharma should be a word in English. Dharma. Dharma is that which holds you together. What is it that is holding you together? Right now, you're sitting here. What is it that is holding you together? The ancient wisdom was something is holding you together without giving it a name. Dharma is holding you together. Your goal is to find this, what is holding you together. Why am I here? What is my purpose? And there is a dharma for each of us. Why am I here? That is my purpose. I need to find it, I need to live it. That is one of the highest lessons, and I'm jumping the gun here, but that is one of the highest lessons in this scripture. Follow who you are, find who you are, and live that. If you're a warrior, if you're standing for the truth, if you're here to protect, then stand up. So that is the message, and all of us, I think, would learn from. Who am I? What is this? This is not made as an accident. This is not an accident. This is not a coincidental thing. That millions of cells came together, started working together, the thoughts started coming, feelings came, and it's an accident. So, we find out why each of us is here and follow it. Follow your innermost wisdom. You all have that wisdom. You all know it somewhere. The key is to get rid of everything that blocks you from that insight. So that is a very simple introduction to the word dharma. And I know it's a little complex for everyone to pronounce, but if you can practice dharma. Dharma. Can you say that, Dr. Santhyam? Oh, wow. Rolling her eyes, but even she can say it. Brooklyn education does work once in a while. Dharma. Dharma is that, the way of your being, if you translate, very poor translation, that which holds you. And the day that is gone, this composite of cells and chemicals and reactions will return. There is also a dharma we have as a community. There is a dharma we have as a nation. The dharma we have as human beings. So what holds us together? Very deep. It is not so simple. It's not so simple. But if we are very sincere, very quiet, very honest, somehow, somewhere we know. So if we follow that, that is the secret to the truth, that is the secret to God, that's the secret to happiness, that's one of the... This thing is the first word, dharma is the first word in one of the last messages of Sri Krishna. The whole scripture is about what our dharma is. And so, today if you can just say that word dharma, it would be great. I will ask for some volunteers to chant with me, but and then you can just hear it, see how it works. If you like it, Maybe I'll get you all chanting. And someday if you can get some Gregorian chanting, we'll try those. I don't know, I have no expertise. You are teach us. Okay. So you see this name Dhritarashtra. I know it's a complex word. But again, the. So the sound is one who holds. This is the blind king. Dhrita, one who is holding. Rashtra is the nation. He's holding the nation, but he's blind. Isn't that very common? The leader of the nation is blind. And this is not physical blindness. This is a blindness of deeper kind. Okay, so dharma, and then the next word is going to be complex for you. Kshetra. Kshetra is the field. In English, if I have to translate, Kshetra is the field. What is the field? Field is a very simple word. This is the field. The field of our action. This is the field we have been given. Each of us have been given a field. Either it's work in the medical field, maybe work in cardiology, work in literature, work in compliance, work in IT. Different field, that's the field. Work in macrobiotics, right? Each of us has a field which been given to him. So I know I'm not going to try to get you to speak this word kshetra, but someday I will. Kshetra. Ka, sh. Ka is very half, is not full. Like you say, but you're really annoyed with some. Can you do that? Kshetra. That's a kshetra sound. Okay, so dharma kshetra. Dharma kshetra is the field of our discovery of ourselves. So each one of us has been given a field, a time and a place. We are born. That is the people who come in our lives, the activities, the circumstances. That is our field. So then that's the opportunity given to us to discover ourselves, to experience ourselves. So then we take different aspects. For example, here sound is our field. For a little while, sound is going to be the way we're going to experience ourselves. The second word is kuru. Kuru is something I think we can all relate to. Kuru is to do work, is work. Creativity. Kriya is coming from the same root, by the way. Creation. Kriya is to make. So kuru, same root. Kuru. And it will keep coming because it's so important in this scripture about what is the work you're here to do. Your work and your dharma are not separate. Your being, your soul, your whole togetherness, whatever keeps you together, is not separate from the work you do. And then I will come to the word sama veta. Sama should be known to everyone. Symbiosis, synthesis, sama. Sama veta means together, and yuyutsava means eager to fight. So who will chant with me? Makaranji will try to chant with me. So I'll try and then see if you like it, then we can proceed. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsava mamaka pandavaschaiva kima kurvata sanjaya. Now, all these sounds, and can you tell me how many? Mamaka means mind. Mamaka is mind. Kima kurvata. Kima is what? Kurvata is doing. Sanjaya. Sanjaya is the one who's addressing you. How many common words to English you can find? Mamaka. Mama, mind, my people. So he's seeing his two families. One is mine and one is the opposite. Right away you know he's blind. He's only seeing his kind. Mama. My people and the other side, what are they doing? His question is this. So when he says mamakaha, it means my people. Just like you have ma, mine, this ancient Sanskrit sound is mamaka. Mamaka. Kim kurvata. Kurvata is to do. What are they doing? Or what did they do? Kurvata. Just like the same root sound as creativity. Kurvata. Kim in Spanish, what do you say? What? What is the? Huh? Kim. So that is the Latin. Kim here is what? Sana, you know, Sana is together, Jaya is with. So, I know this is going to be a tough thing to chant. Can someone say Dharma Kshetre? Dharma Kshetre? Dharma Kshetre? Kurukshetre. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre. Samaveta, Yuyutsavaha, Mamataha, Pandava, Shcheva, Kima, Kurvata, Sanjaya. There you go, congratulations. You chanted in the ancient Proto-Indo-European languages' first descendant, the oldest descendant. You were able to chant it, which is very close to our language. Still 4 words out of modern languages. Very close to our modern languages. But look at the sound significance. And slowly, I think hopefully these sounds will come. And hopefully you can start paying attention to the sounds in your own life. And realize that each sound has a psychological impact. So, and then those who get interested, it's all online. You can even play it. Gita 1.1, if you want to play it, this will be, many people have chanted it, far better than I.
We can play that chant. We have to.
You have, can you play it?
Well, actually, we said it to let Honor.
Are you able to play this now? Probably not. Okay. So I will end it here. I know it must be tiring. I hope I was able to bring to you a couple of things. One is each sound has a quality. 2, we share our sounds. And 3, let's be conscious of the sound about us and the sound we use. And hopefully this will be those interested will be a nice exploration of sound and chant.
She's got it.
She's got it.
But not Swami Brahmananda.
He is the best.
Yeah. But she's got some. Let's go into sound value.
Okay, now it's Could you play this again? Let me just, the first 2 words is Dhritarashtra, that's the king. Uvacha is he spoke. And then the chant starts. Can you do that again, Vinod?
Arjuna Vishada Yoga Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yudhutsavaha Mamaka Pandavashche किमकुर्वत सञ्जय.
Okay, so she did better than I did, but that's okay. This can even be represented mathematically. I know it sounds strange, but this is so scientific. The sounds, it can be represented mathematically, and they have created matrices 3,000 years ago. So if those who like mathematics can get involved in that. But think about it, our ancient languages have mathematical connections, not just to music, but mathematics. When they say Bach is mathematical, almost as structured, and we still appreciate it, our ancient languages have a mathematical quality to it. It's not random. And we can choose how we arrange them, and we can play with it. We can bring all our emotions and our heart into it and still keep a structure to it. That's the genius of our languages, something that we have been given by our ancient forefathers. Okay, I'll stop here.
You've got Swami Brahmananda. You want him?
Yeah, if you can play that. Ignore the first 3 lines. I will tell you when he's starting. Yeah, okay.
अतप्रथमोऽध्यायः धृतराष्ट्रउवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किम कुर्वत सञ्जय.
Now there is a music to it. I think he's the best voice who really brings down a vibratory quality. And if you can catch the vibratory quality, then you know that even behind the words there's a music. In modern music, it's called microtones. So if you listen to music, there is something behind the music. It's called microtones. See if you can catch the microtones. Is there some music behind these words? And that is the vibration that I think you were trying to point out. All great scripture tries to capture this vibratory quality. You learn how to go back to the original and start. If you are able to chant it or speak it, you will find that something different. That's what separates it from a regular speech like mine. Play that again and see if you can catch the microtones. What in music we call microtones. Don't try to understand, just listen.
अतप्रथमोऽध्यायः धृतराष्ट्रउवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किम कुर्वत सञ्जय.
All right, I will give you a break. I know I've tried to stretch your eardrums so you can listen, and when you maybe listen to even music, see if you can. Great music will have that. Beethoven, if you listen to his sound, there will always be microtones behind them. Great art in cabinet. Thank you.